Okay, I'm live. Hello. Hello, and welcome back to streaming Homestuck. Let me tweet out that I'm live. And I have tweeted it. Okay, cool. For anyone who is in the chat and can hear my voice, please type in the word pumpernickel, which is, like the bread, so I can tell that you're hearing me. As you may have seen on Twitter, or you may be able to tell by the fact that I'm the only person talking, this time I'm going to be doing another solo stream like I did with Act 1. And the reason I thought I'd do that is because this one is a little bit different from Homestuck as usual. It's not like other Homestucks, as they say. Hello, I see Sammy in chat. Hello, Sammy. So this is the intermission of Homestuck, which, I guess there's a lot that could be said about it. I think that's correct spelling of pumpernickel, Evan. If not, it'll do. Just, it confirms that I'm audible. So, hello to Evan in the chat. So I figured I'd do this one solo, and, it's, I don't know, this is one of my favorite parts of Homestuck, honestly. It does one of my favorite things that Homestuck does is, as the story progresses, eventually you get to a point in the story where, it kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger, because last time we left off at the end of Act 3, there was a ton of stuff going on, but Intermission is going to kind of do its own thing and let us worry about figuring out if or how it's relevant to the rest of the story as we go. So let's get right into it with Intermission. And day turns to night. And we are here in the green house. We are stuck in a green home. Your name is Spades Slick. You are the leader of a notoriously vicious gang of mobsters called the Midnight Crew. A rival gang, known as the Felt, recently knocked over one of your favorite casinos. Your long quest of revenge has finally taken you through the front door of the mansion belonging to their loathsome boss, Lord English. Your subordinates, Clubs Deuce, Diamonds Droog, and Hearts Box Cars, have been dispatched to various locations throughout the mansion to begin carrying out your mission. Your objective is to locate and crack English's secret vault and plunder its mysteries. That's the business end of it. The pleasure will be painting this ugly house red with the blood of those miserable green motherfuckers. Evan mentions not having ever had pumpernickel. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's a bread with a funny name. That's really all there is to it. Okay. SS, inspect timekeeping devices. You notice that everything is preceded by I guess for intermission. Stupid gang and their lousy obsession with clocks. The sooner all these idiots stop being alive, the better. You wonder where they are. It's awfully quiet in the mansion, sans all the dreadful ticking. Is that a reference to Sans Undertale? No, it's not, because Sans Undertale was years after this. Anyhow, SS, Capsulog Carriage Clock. You obviously have no idea what that means. If it's some smart-ass way of saying to pick it up, forget it. You are already carrying an item. It is your trusty deck of cards. Yeah, this inventory system is much more similar to the inventory system from Problem Sleuth than it is to the inventory system that we've seen so far in Homestuck. Hex hasn't had pumpernickel either. Geez, go out to your local grocery store as soon as it's safe to do so and get some pumpernickel. I haven't had pumpernickel in probably over a decade. I don't know. I remember it being like, I don't know, kind of stiffer than white bread. It's like a stiffer bread. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It's almost, I feel of it almost being like, no, it's kind of sourdough. Oh, is there a ticking noise? Is there a ticking noise in? Is there a tick? Is there a ticking noise? Huh. Okay. Well, Hex mentioned there being a ticking noise, but I don't know if there's a ticking noise. If there is, then we'll just have to keep on ticking through. Yeah, anyhow. SS, build fort with clocks. You have an idea that is so much better. Clocks destroyed, 4 out of 1,000. Oh, no, not an actual ticking noise. Okay. Yeah, Hex points out that pumpernickel looks like chocolate but isn't. Yeah, no, it's just a brown bread. Anyhow, SS, check for traps under the billiards rug. There's a photo of Jeff Foxworthy, of course. What is under the rug is much worse than any trap you can imagine. It is a member of a species that you do not recognize, with a ghastly, furred upper lip. I don't remember if it's ever explained in story later on why this photo of Jeff Foxworthy is in this place, but yeah. Next. Oh, Spades mentioned ticking, and it was a reference, and yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, was that supposed to be a reference to Potter Puppet Pals, like the mysterious ticking? Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, you cover the unsightly individual back up and try to forget it ever existed. SS, play 52 pickup. You would need a deck of cards to play that infernal game. Fortunately, all you have is your war chest, which you deploy on the floor. SS, open war chest. There's a lot going on here. SS, shuffle contents of war chest. You rummage around. It's no unusual assortment of belongings, and nothing any mobster worth his salt would be caught plotting and scheming without. Certainly nothing eyebrow-raising. Bunch of blades, some playing cards, and a variety of other miscellaneous stuff. Also your vendetta itinerary and your heist map. Here we have a laptop in the shape of Bing Crosby, which I guess is a sort of reference to the laptop in the shape of Bill Cosby from Act 3. Anyhow, scavenge war chest for fancy headwear. If there are any elaborate if there are any elaborate headdresses in here, you'll eat your haberdasher. But, of course, there is only a plain and serviceable backup hat, which naturally conceals 2 licorice Scotty dogs, which makes you think that maybe you are wearing your backup hat, and this is your usual one? Hell if you know. They are the same damn hat. Did chat just get, like, a notification, or did the stream just have a notification? Yeah, the stream just saw a text I got from Adel. Oh, well. Yeah. Cool. Don't read my text messages, especially if they are as innocuous as that one. Yeah, I think I don't know, having not read all of Problem Sleuth, I might not fully understand this reference. I think it has something to do with the candy corn, and yeah. As Evan mentions in chat, the hat with candy is an obvious Problem Sleuth reference. SS, hide inside your war chest. You cannot hide properly inside the chest because you cannot close it while you are inside. Instead, you momentarily pretend it is a really cool automobile that commands the fear and respect of larcenous adversaries everywhere. Beep, beep, beep. All aboard the idiot wagon. SS, start up the Crosby top. Is that what this thing is? You've had it for some time and don't quite remember how you got it. You never knew the identity of this pipe-smoking creature. Perhaps it could be the same species as the character you just saw under the rug. But you know that is impossible, because this one does not feature the same bizarre furred lip. They are probably differing species within the same genus. SS, go to mspaintadventures.com. This one is a jailbreak reference, Evan mentions. Yeah, okay, yeah, I vaguely remember that too. Oh, huh. In the world of MS Paint Adventures, here you see, whereas, okay, so when John and friends go to MS Paint Adventures, they see the Midnight Crew, but Spade Slick and the folks in the Midnight Crew universe go to MS Paint Adventures, they see Homestuck, they see John. You don't know why you are wasting time on this website. It is for little children who poop hard in their baby-ass diapers. Also, you don't understand what the hell is going on or who all these characters are. It's a lot of nonsense. This just made me think, I don't know, this slots in kind of interestingly with some stuff from like Friendsim and Pester Quest, but I guess I won't get into that here. SS, delete the time setting on the Crosby top. Clock's destroyed, 5 out of 1,000. SS, take the spade key. You take the rules card for blackjack. Yeah, that's an infuriating quirk of this inventory system where things turn into other things. I'm not going to read this because this is just the rules of blackjack. And if you don't know the rules of blackjack, then Google the rules of blackjack. Or is there anything like hussy-ish here? Yeah, no, I don't see anything worth reading aloud there. You have possessed this item for as long as you can remember. You do not yet know its significance, though you can hustle up a mean game of blackjack when you need to. Not that it requires a lot of skill. SS, I examine Vendetta itinerary. Okay, what do we got here? These are the mugshots of everyone you are going to kill. You got a head start. You already offed Crowbar, number 7, Matchsticks, 11, and Quarters, 14, depleting some of them and their muscle. You've still got to watch out for the others and stay wary of their despicable time shenanigans. Itchy, 1, has... So all of these characters are... Well, they have hats that are patterned on pool balls, and they're designated with numbers. And the numbers are all... And their names are all puns. So like Crowbar, a number 7 looks like a crowbar. 11 looks like 2 matchsticks. And Quarters... I guess, 14, I don't really know why that would be Quarters. Because, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. But I think Itchy is a reference to the... Is that supposed to be a reference to the Japanese word for 1, which is Ichi? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Evan mentions in chat, things turning into other things is one of Problem Sleuth's main mechanics. Items being other items when they're referred to as the other item. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, no, it doesn't make sense, but it kind of makes anti-sense in the way that it needs to. Doze, too, which I guess that's a reference to Dose. You've captured and interrogated just as repeatedly, to no avail. Trace, 3, let's take a look at them as we go, has broken into your secret hideout more times than you can count. Well, Finn, 5. So Trace is like, that's obviously Trace. Oh, yeah. Evan mentions that Quarters 1 out of 4, so it's like 1 over 4. So it's 1/4. That makes some sense. But so Trace obviously is the Spanish Trace. Well, Fin 5, because 5 looks like it has like a shark fin. I guess. Always seems to be a step ahead of you and scoops your heists. Clover 4, 4-leaf clover obviously, has all the intel and is highly cooperative. You might need him to crack the vault. He'll be guarded. Best to avoid die, 6, because a die often has 6 sides. That's the most common variety of die. Best to avoid die in any direct confrontations unless you want a temporal mess on your hands. But if you need any repairs, you could always get to Stitch, which is 9, hard to read, and that's a reference to the aphorism, a stitch in time saves 9, and Persuade him. You could always try to get to Stitch and persuade him. And you might need to if you can't kill Sawbuck, 10, with a clean shot. And a Sawbuck is a slang term for a $10 bill. Eggs, 12, because eggs often come in dozens, and biscuits, 13, because biscuits come in baker's dozens, which are 13. Eggs and biscuits are morons, but they are dangerous morons. Cans, 15. I don't know what that's a reference to, cans. Is that supposed to be like quince, like in Spanish? I don't know. Is a tank. Cans is a tank, and your crew will probably need more ammunition than you packed to take them down. No one knows what Lord English looks like, but that'll be corrected tonight. You've got dibs on English. He's all yours. So yeah, we got all our different weird little green mobster dudes. SS, wonder where the number 8 mugshot went. That's a good question. It's right here, but you aren't going to kill Snowman. It's out of the question. Interesting. SS, examine heist map. Okay. On review, your schemes seem a bit convoluted, but you wouldn't have it any other way. Deuce and Droog split up to neutralize as many felt as they can find. Your heavy muscle and expert safecracker boxcars is headed straight down to the vault. So we've got, so this is the smash more stupid clocks, lots of dead green torsos. SS, use radio device to check on unscrupulous cohorts. You put the word out to your cronies for a status report. No response yet. You clean up all your junk and prepare to get this show on the road. Next. You slip the spade key back into the deck of cards, then pocket the war chest. Smooth as clockwork and every bit as logical. When I was first reading Homestuck, I had no idea what this had to... Like, it was so disorienting, and I wasn't sure, if I even needed to read this. I wasn't sure to me, if this is even actually part of Homestuck. But it is, so... Yeah. SS, enter the hallway near the main entrance. Funny, you didn't hear any commotion or gunplay, but it looks like there's already been some action here. Or there will be. You can never take tents for granted with these goons. 13 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed, apparently. Looks like Club Deuce is getting back to you. Next. He says he's got Doze tied up for an interrogation. You ask him what else is new. Capturing that guy is like shooting a paralyzed monkey in the face. SS, B, Hearts Boxcars. You are now Club's Deuce. CD, rough him up. He remains tight-lipped, so you deal him a senseless shin-drubbing with your crook of felony. Oh, the humanity you can barely watch. Drub, 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 drub. Rachel says, sorry I'm late. Seems I am just in time to be confused. Rachel, I think haven't you read this already? I feel like you have, because you recently posted something about being as far as Act 6. Hex says, I think the first time I read Homestuck, I skipped the intermission and read it intermittently as I continued the rest. Yeah, I don't know. It took me a while to get into the intermission, but once I got into it, I knew that I wanted to read it. So I didn't skip it for that reason. But it's not obvious that this has anything to do with anything we've read before, which is one of my favorite things that Homestuck does, as I said. Next, Doze has his clocks in his eyes. He's probably still using his special ability to slow time down for himself. He can't feel a damn thing and certainly isn't saying anything, apart from a very low saying, ow, very, very slowly. Slowing down time for yourself is, it's an interesting power. CD, punch clocks in faces to establish chronology. Why would you do that? All of these clocks are lovely. You can see no reason to harm them. 987 out of 1,000 clocks unharmed. I imagine this was probably this used reader submissions. It must have. And I think what they're implying here is punch clocks in faces to establish chronology. I think that means like punch clocks in faces so that you'll know that this takes place after, so that you can get a count of how many clocks are destroyed and not destroyed, so that Hussey doesn't do like the thing he does sometimes where like you see different perspectives but they're out of sync with one another. Like, so establish chronology means to like, yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. And if you don't get what I'm saying, then possibly it's impossible for me to communicate what I'm saying. So, yeah, CD, swap hats with Doze. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I love the little black heart over Club's Deuce's head right here. Although black hearts are an odd bit of incongruent symbolism in Homestuck, but I don't know. We'll get to that later, I guess. CD, swap hats with Doze. You begin a feeble campaign of psychological warfare. Perhaps compromising his fashion motif is one way to get to him. Nope, looks like he's still in his weird state of stasis and doesn't care. Either that or it's driving him nuts, just very slowly. CD, dump the contents of your war chest over him. War chest? What are you talking about? All you've got is this simple, unassuming deck of cards. Meanwhile, we have Itchy in the background. CD, play some solitaire. Don't be stupid. To play solitaire, you need a deck of cards. I don't see a deck of cards. Do you? All I see is your battle robe. CD, throw the hat down and stomp it mercilessly. Hex suggests punch 1 clock per minute so you can keep track of what's happened when. I guess that makes sense. Oh no, it's Itchy. And he looks like he's all wound up. He unties Doze and quickly swaps everyone's hats around. Next. Doze proceeds to make a fleet-footed getaway. The chase is on. So obviously Doze's power is to go slow. Itchy's power is to go fast. The chase is on. SS, stop being Hearts Boxcars. All right, you're the boss. Hearts Boxcars, you ain't. Someone has replaced your plain unserviceable hat with a silly and undersized one. An outrage beyond compare. You're sure you know who the culprit was. You can still smell his overly caffeinated blood. 986 out of 1,000 clocks shown mercy. Yeah, so we have I guess Itchy coming around here and moving people's hats around. This confused me at first because I guess I forgot what his original hat looked like, and so I didn't understand what was going on here. But that's not the hat he had before. You can see Itchy with that hat very briefly here. Anyhow, or wait, no, what? I'm confused. What did his hat look like before? Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so that's Club's Deuce's hat. And This is incredibly important that I get this right. Okay, so the taller one with the two little peaks here, that's what Spade Slick has, whereas the smaller sort of flatter diagonal one, that's Clubs Deuces. It's very important that we understand the hat continuity here. Okay. SS, lift left leg and hold it a little ways in the air. Oops. So you trip him over while he's doing his thing. Next. Nice threatening image. And 4 out of 15 green torsos dead. So Itchy is now dead. Remember, write that down in your copybook now. For those of you keeping notes at home. SS, wear CD's hat on top of your current one. You are already wearing Deuce's hat, you fool. The one on the floor is Droog's hat. Okay, so pay attention. That one's Droog's hat. This is exactly why you always keep a backup hat on hand. This son of a bitch on the floor here has played his last game of musical hats. Soon these lugs will learn to show you some respect. You made this town what it is, after all. Wasn't nothing but a bunch of dust and rocks before you got here. SS, wear backup hat. You deploy your chest and swap this dinky little hat for one more suited to your tastes. Wait a minute. Thank God your precious Scotty dogs are still here. You don't know what you'd do without them. You don't want to even think about it. So, yeah, that's his proper hat. Proper hat has been restored. Next. There's Dai. Dai makes his usual sort of entrance, the nonplussed, vaguely bewildered sort. Dai has one of maybe one of my favorite time-based superpowers out of any of the time-based superpowers here, but we haven't revealed it yet, so I won't say it. SS, be Diamond's Droog. You got it. Clubs Deuce it is. You have opened. That's interesting because last time it was B Hearts Boxcars, and that makes him Clubs Deuce, whereas this time it would be Diamond's Droog, and so it's not as though there's like a one-to-one correspondence between who the narrative tries to be and then who it actually is. It's just random and cruel and capricious. You have opened your battle drobe in search of your backup hat. You also need some more rope to retie Doze, who is absolutely tearing through the mansion as we speak. If you don't hurry, he may clear the chair within the hour, but it's a big mess. You mostly just see a bunch of bombs and cards. Next. You're not sure what's what. You can never remember which card to pick up. You can't believe how shitty your memory is. It's a weird little splotch of oil. I wonder what that's all about. CD, grab the deuce of clubs. You pick up 2 licorice gummy bears. These need to be stored for safekeeping as soon as possible. Finding your backup hat has never been more urgent. CD, pick up all of the cards and throw them at Doze. You pick up a bunch of cards and fling them Dozeward. Didn't accomplish a whole lot other than put some of your private reading material on embarrassing public display. Okay, so this is Black Inches, licorice, as far as the eye can see. I feel like, okay, so this is kind of a complicated joke. I think it goes back to Jailbreak, which, I don't know, what was the origin of Black Inches? I feel like Black Inches was like a, yeah, okay, so I guess Black Inches was like a porn magazine in Jailbreak, one of several porn magazines. And here, I don't know, it's part of a much more complicated meta joke that spins out into Homestuck. I guess starting here, Black Inches, yeah. Okay, anyhow, CD, pick a card, any card. You're a busy guy, so you just pick up any old thing and put it on your head. Since you are in a big hurry, you will assume that it is your backup hat. And it's explosives. You stand nearby the 2 remaining cards on the floor, an off-suited king and jack. CD, pick up card depicting stately-looking blonde-haired fellows. You aren't going to stand around jack king off all day long, so you grab the jack of diamonds. Oh, here's your backup hat. Problem solved, you guess. CD, forget you are CD. Believe you are Hearts Boxcars. You suddenly remember you are Diamond's Droog. Whoever took your hat is about to discover he's the unluckiest man on earth. You better hope you will find him dead. What you're going to do to him will be much less painful that way. DD, wear backup hat. You don't have a backup hat. All you got is this deck of cards. Oh, wait, yes, you do. It's stashed away in your Brawlzaleum. DD, retrieve hat from Brawlzaleum. You are the only member of this band of thugs who is civilized enough to keep more than one backup hat, as well as an extensive array of finely tailored suits. The Brawlzaleum seemed like the best storage option for your exceptional wardrobe. If there's any better sort of compartment to keep your wardrobe in, you'd love to hear it. Also, there's a shitload of guns and cards in there, too. You put on a backup hat. DD, withdraw licorice fish from backup hat. Whew, your Swedish fish are there. This is why it's a good idea to always store your candy in your backup hat rather than your usual one. Other members of your gang have learned this the hard way, and they're finally starting to catch on. Next. Suddenly, you get cold-cocked in the face from the future. You'd know the knuckles belonging to that sucker punch anywhere. Next. Trace always knows where you've been. The spineless rat likes to follow your past trail around and mess with you. Okay, so we've got Itchy, his power is to go super fast, Doze goes super slow, and Trace sees a trail of your past self that looks like, I don't know, kind of disgusting like this. It looks like a long umbilical cord or something. Okay, next. Trouble is, whenever he does, he lets you know exactly where he's going to be in the future. This time you'll be ready for him. Okay, so yeah, that stands to reason, because if he's following around your past self, then, which to us is your present self, then his present is your future, so he'll be here later. Okay, yeah. He lets you know exactly where he's going to be in the future. This time you'll be ready for him. You radio Deuce for backup. Give him a time and place and exactly what path through the mansion to take. DD, resume pursuit of wounded felt member. You don't know if the wounded guy went up the stairs or came down, or who wounded him and when. Might have even been you, for all you know. DD, follow trail of blood up the stairs. Can't overthink this stuff. You go with your gut and head upstairs. CD, follow Diamond's Droog's instructions. After giving a quick 10-4 over the radio, I love the Stretch Armstrong tying him to the chair. Yeah. After giving a quick 10-4 over the radio, you take another look at your prisoner. He lucked out. Looks like round 2 of your brutal interrogation will have to wait. You couldn't find any rope, so you tied him up with a Stretch Armstrong doll, which you happen to have lying around. You don't remember how you got it. It looks sort of dumb, but it will have to do. CD, just lock Doze in the battledrobe. Time to hit the road. You beat your hostage into the back of your battledrobe with a bull penis cane. Wait, this is a bull penis cane? Next. You flip the fuck out over the fact that this is apparently a bull penis cane. Yeah, so apparently that's like a real thing where canes get made out of bull penises. Anyhow. Meanwhile, running roughly parallel with present events. Okay, so we've got Itchy over here, Die over here. Playing cards. Next. Itchy always cheats, but he's always cheated for the last time. You're going to jump to a timeline where he's dead. Next. Looks like he got what he deserved, but as usual, you find yourself in a bit of a predicament. Okay, so Die's power is that he has a voodoo doll where, based on the pins that are in the voodoo doll, he goes to a timeline where that character is either alive or dead. So we were just looking at a parallel timeline, and now we're looking at this timeline in which we've seen Itchy die already. Okay. SS, make friends with Die. You introduce your cast iron horse hitcher to your new friend. Next. Die scrambles for a pin he's been saving for a special occasion. So he has pins for each of the Midnight Crew too. Okay. Next. So yeah, okay. So he puts the spades pin into the doll and says, how many times does he have to tell you he made this town? Okay. So in timelines where Spades is dead, we're in this, instead of there being like a green tinted mansion here, there is a blue and pink weird I don't know what you'd call it, like a desert scape with a skyline in the background and 2 pink moons and a green moon. So, yeah. HP, stop being SS. You stop not being Hearts Boxcars. You have made your way to the Felt's secret vault. It's bigger than you were expecting. You doubt you will be able to rely on your usual safe cracking method, which is prying it from the wall with your bare hands. You'll have to think of something else. HB, do a silly dance. This is just absolutely the most ridiculous thing you could possibly choose to do right now. I mean, come on. Why don't you take a closer look at that safe? Seriously, stop that. If Dai dies in one time, if Dai dies in one timeline, can he go back to it as another Dai? I feel like there's something about that in the comic at some point, but I might be wrong. Maybe we'll see it. I don't remember. Yeah, it's hard for me to remember all of the ridiculous details of the very specific time travel mechanics that get introduced here, because it's a lot. HP, pry the wall from the safe. That notion is even more ridiculous than the last one. Wait, who are you kidding? No, it isn't. Looks like the combination to the safe is entered via the hands of the clock, and you somehow doubt spinning the hands around manually is going to cut it. Knowing these guys, you've got to alter the flow of time itself to make it work. Which, of course, is bullshit. You think you'll just blow it up instead. Time to get Deuce on the radio. HB, deploy Punchbox. You deploy the Wrath Tub, which has a Red Cheeks magazine in it. HB, retrieve 2 of hearts from backup hat. You retrieve your pair of wax lips. If anyone tried to steal your wax lips, you would eat their eyeballs and deliver an angry lecture into their empty sockets. HB, peruse Red Cheeks magazine. Just glancing at it gives you palpitations. Literature for avid cardioaficionados such as yourself. Those burgeoning red humps, that mischievous little tail, the snug, welcoming cleft. The saucy imagery is hard to beat. Harder than what you beat inside your chest now. Your heart is what you're beating. You beat it to Red Cheeks magazine pretty regularly, you'd say. HB, call clubs on nearest card. You radio Deuce on the 10-4 cards. That's a good joke. 10-4, yeah. You let him know you need a powder monkey on the double. You hear ticking, and it's not coming from the big vault clock above. You hope it's not what you think it is. Next. Oh no, oh god, it's Biscuits. His oven timer is ticking. This is no good. Next. Ugh. There he is. This idiot thinks his special oven transports him into the future by the amount of time he sets on the timer. Well, he's sort of right, but in reality all that's happening is he's hiding in there until the timer's up and then pops out. You guess he's relatively harmless if he's alone. You can take him. What you really have to worry about is if he teams up with... Oh no, that ringing. That god-awful ringing. You can hear it. Ring! Eggs. Son of a fuck. You might as well just grab one of your axes and kill yourself now. I forget the specifics of Eggs' power. I don't remember how clear it ever becomes. Okay, he can use his egg timer to travel back in time by increments of up to 1 hour. I don't know, maybe I just spoiled that because it's revealed later, but I honestly don't remember. Anyhow, okay, CD, follow path. So this is... Okay, yeah. So in the future, so we're now in the future relative to where we were before. In the future, you've already followed the path through the mansion that Droog told you to. Trace followed Droog's past trail even further back, but found a much fresher trail crossing his path. Looks like this little guy's talking on the radio, says something about how he'll be right there once he gives Droog a hand. Trace decides he'll trace this guy for a while and see what he's up to, and then mess with him, of course. So in the future, we have Trace following in the present. He was following present Droog, but then begins following present Deuce. Okay. Next. In the present, you talk on the radio. Say something about how you'll be right there once you give Droog a good look around the new room you're in. Looks like the trail of blood ends here, or originates, whatever. Something went down here in the past, or is it about to go down in the future? You know what, never mind. 21 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed, apparently. Next. Hang on, there's a tooth on the floor. You know that tooth. You've felt its bite before. Finn was here. And judging by the forensics of the scene, the angle it hit the floor, the direction of the blood splatters, and how dry the blood is, you think you know exactly what he's about to pull. Or more specifically, what he's about to already have pulled. Next. Finn always knows where you're going. He's followed your future trail here. He likes to mess with you from the past. Trouble is, he tips you off to where he's been. This time you're ready. Wait for it. Wait. Okay, so his is the opposite of Trace's, whereas Trace is in the future and can see your past trail, Finn from the past can see your future trail. Next. Now. Okay, yeah, so he's lashing out and attacking Finn in the past, which is why there's blood here, because Finn was attacked here in the past. Next. The past. So you have Finn here getting riddled with bullets. Predestined bullet holes are convenient. Gives you something to aim for. God, that's good. Next. 7 out of 21 clocks redestroyed. Next. The past. Okay, so in the past, Finn was going down this way while Droog was walking upstairs. And that's why the blood trail was here, because in the past, Finn had already been attacked. And yeah. SS, rematerialize. That doesn't make any sense. You never went anywhere. Yeah, so he didn't go anywhere because from his perspective, Dai would have disappeared rather than the other way around. Next. Dai realizes there is a cost to settling the score with you in this way. The cost is having to live in a desert amidst the ruins of a dead civilization for the rest of his life. He thinks that's stupid, so he pulls your pin. Next. SS, help the green man live up to his name. He did. Next. Okay, so he's crossed out now. SS, take Voodoo Doll. You grab his Voodoo Doll and stick his pin in there for good measure. Might as well keep track of everyone you've offed this way, too. Not that you intend to abuse its power to settle your score. What's the point if you're not going to get your hands dirty? Still, it might come in handy down the road. Lord English is supposedly indestructible. He's rumored to be killable only through a number of glitches and exploits in spacetime. The doll may ultimately help you work the system if it comes to that. SS, clocks, destroy them. 29 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed. 5 out of 15, green torso's dead. So we're making progress. DD, follow blood trail downstairs and finish him off. Problem with that is he'll just see your future trail following him, and that'll be nothing but a loud invitation for him to mess with you some more. Besides, better to leave him alone. You think you know where he'll lead you to. Just gotta be a little more subtle about tracing his blood trail. Keep your future trail out of his line of sight. That makes perfect sense. SS, return to being Hearts boxcars. And we're now Club's Deuce. So in the present, I like how we have to flag that. Trace is here, seeing past Droog going upstairs. Yeah. Spade Slick cannot return to being Hearts boxcars because obviously Diamond's Droog is too busy being Club's Deuce. You just watched Trace throw a punch into thin air for some reason. That guy's awfully silly. He then skulks off somewhere, so we don't see why he threw that punch. We don't know that yet. You don't realize he's following Droog's past trail through the mansion until he... Yes, we do know why he did that, because when he got cold clocked from the future, that was this moment that we're seeing right here. Okay, which we're now calling the present. Okay. I got a handle on this. I understand what's going on. You don't realize he's following Droog's past trail through the mansion until he gets to the point where it intersects with your trail, at which point he'll start following you. But we all realized it because it's obvious and couldn't possibly be more clear. God, fucking Andrew Hussey, man. CD, implement nefarious scheme. I love the Stretch Armstrong. I think I had a Stretch Armstrong when I was a kid, but it didn't last very long because like one of the limbs got punctured and there was like some kind of fluid inside of it, I feel like. Or like there was some kind of filling for the stretchy arms. Anyhow, you follow Droog's simple instructions. So simple, even a forgetful nincompoop like you can remember. There's a blood trail on the floor that goes in a different direction than Trace went. You decide to follow it because that sounds like a really good idea to you. If there was something you were supposed to do after helping out Droog, you'll be damned if you remember what it was. Next. Okay, so the future. So Doze has been left here. Trace comes back here in the future and sees present, or from his perspective past, clubs, Deuce. Yeah, okay. Trace catches up to where you were, but you're gone already. All he sees is the long, gross, rubbery arm of your past trail stretching through the room. He finds his... I want to see, like... I wonder if there's any good fan art of, like, a more sort of photorealistic depiction of what that past trail looks like. Because it looks to me like it doesn't look gross to me, but it looks to me like if I saw it more photorealistically depicted, then it would be gross. And also... you see the outline of Finn in here too, I guess, because he's even more past. I don't know. He finds his comrade. Tied up with the stretchy rubber arms of a small man, but there is nothing gross or unpalatable about that in the least. Doze unslows himself and then begins mumbling something feverishly about his hat. Next. In the future. That's right. There's a bomb under the hat. Next. Boom. Okay, so Doze and Trace are now dead. 7 out of 15 green torsos dead. 107 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed. Okay. Next. See, reading this is like a project. It's like you have to like mentally keep track of all the different stuff that's going on. It's very deliberately confusing, but I love it. Evan's saying, I've always wanted to see an XKCD style narrative chart for the intermission. It's so confusing. Yeah, I don't even know what that would look like, man. I remember back in the day, I made like flowcharts that I posted on the Homestuck Reddit, which is a god awful place, by the way. I also posted them on Tumblr, which was also a god awful place, but not in quite the same way and not to the same extent. But I made like flowcharts with the progress through time of various iterations of the bunny in Homestuck, as well as the whatchamacallit, as well as little Cal. I should go dig those up somewhere. They're probably still accurate, because I don't think any further development happened after I made those charts. But maybe I should try to make some kind of infographic describing the convoluted mechanics of the intermission. Anyhow, Finn makes his way through the mansion to get some help. So this is in the past. Okay, so we're in the past. We see all this stuff in the future that we've already seen. Okay. He wonders where this little guy is going. Deuce's future trail is headed in the same direction he's headed by sheer coincidence. Finn decides to follow him for a bit, keep an eye on him. For as long as Deuce's path matches his, that is. There's pretty much no chance he's headed to the same place, though. That would be statistically improbable. Which is... I mean, it's funny because he's following Deuce's future trail. Meanwhile, Deuce is following his blood trail that he's currently leaving. So they are going to the same place anyway. He's got no idea what these other goons are up to here. Funny, their future trails end here. He's not going to stick around long enough to find out why. He's a bit too woozy from the blood loss to sort out this mess anyway. CD, follow the red blood road. It's uncanny. This little guy is matching Finn's route every step of the way. He must know something. Finn decides he's got to take him out. Next. It's so funny. Yep. But he can't get a clear shot. Too dizzy, and with all that C4 under Deuce's hat, firing would be a bad idea. My God, he's thought of everything. Clearly dealing with a criminal mastermind here. Next. Evan mentions he started working on a narrative chart for Acts 1 through 5, but lost the Photoshop file a long time ago and stopped. Oh, sad. The little black heart again. I love that. You stop to admire this gorgeous clock. It is so pretty. Too bad it's not ticking like so many of the clocks in this place. Not that you can blame them. There are so many clocks in this mansion, it would obviously be impractical to make sure they all work properly. Oh, look, a trail of blood. You think you'll start following it. Hearts boxcars. Wait exact 4 hours on this tomfoolery. You hate time travel, 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 you hate time travel. Ring, ring, buzz, buzz. Next. So it's been 4 hours from HB's perspective. Above, a spectator has appeared at the strike of 4 and has been giggling at your foolishness for a number of minutes. Clover would have been tickled to help you open this vault, at the cost of answering a few of his clever time riddles, needless to say. If only... Riddle me piss! Never mind. If only you'd thought to seek his help first, rather than charging like a silly brute. Ugh, I'm sorry, my mouth is getting all reading-y. If only you'd thought to seek his help first, rather than charging like a silly brute, you are into this deadly trap of stable and not-so-stable time loops. Mostly unstable, really. These guys are way too dumb to maintain even elementary looping stability for more than a couple iterations. If you weren't so preoccupied, Clover could tell you that you could use Crowbar's help to pry anything out of a time loop, stable or otherwise. If you weren't so preoccupied, and if you weren't so dead. Hee hee hee. Next. I'm glad Hex enjoyed my riddle me piss reference. Okay. So we got Stitch here, and we got this mysterious flashy coat of many colors. Stitch mutters to himself in his shop. He guesses eggs and biscuits are roughhousing again because the fabric of space-time is tearing something fierce on Lord English's Cairo overcoat. This sort of thing is exactly why he keeps a backup coat, and always leaves Stitch with one of them. Any gang does well to have an in-house doctor on hand, but if you deal in time travel, you better have a damn good tailor, too. That's a good line. I feel like Cairo overcoat is a reference to something in Problem Sleuth. Is it like Chicago overcoat or something? Because I think that's just a slang term that means coffin, but I also think it's in like Problem Sleuth at some point. But what the fuck do I know? I never read Problem Sleuth. Yeah, okay. HB, call Spades for backup. You tell Slick to get his scrawny ass to the vault. It's goddamn bedlam down here. You tell him you asked Deuce for backup, but surprise, surprise, he's nowhere to be found. Big surprise, you tell him. You tell him that was sarcasm. He says he knows. Slick says he'll be right there. He'll see if he can round up Droog for support. Next. Droog says Deuce is telling Finn, while he is Deuce is tailing Finn, while he is tailing Deuce. He'll be there to help boxcars as soon as he and Deuce take care of business with Stitch. Couldn't be simpler. Oh yeah, he also mentions he pumped Finn full of lead so you can cross him off the list. You, Roger, all of that. Next. Okay, so we're back in the past. We've got all these dolls of some kind. We've got Finn riddled in blood. And we got Stitch. Finn bursts into Stitch's workshop, blubbering something about watching out for the little guy who's about to come in here. He says to watch out because he's got a bomb on his head, which is undoubtedly quite volatile, and even the slightest spark would surely set it off. Stitch sees Finn's obviously in pretty bad shape and checks his effigy. Sure enough, the thing's in tatters, but he should be just fine if it can be patched up before he bleeds to... Next. Oh, he dies and the effigy goes out. And then the pin goes in, and Finn is dead. Death. 8 out of 15, green torso's dead. Okay, so Stitch's power is that he has these effigies of all the different characters, and he can heal wounds appear on them, and he can heal the wounds by stitching them up, but then when they die, they get burnt out to a husk like this. Like you see, dies is decapitated or whatever. Yeah. Anyhow, okay. So, is that Dies? Yeah, I think that's Dies. Die got decapitated, right? I remember what happened a few pages ago. Anyhow, CD, burst in, thrusting bull penis cane. Everybody out of the goddamn way. You got a hat full of bomb, a fist full of penis, and a head full of empty. It's a good line. Next. Stitch says, drop the livestock knob and settle the hell down. He says, you do realize C4 is a stable explosive and won't detonate with gunfire, right? You say, oh. I bet that's something that, like, Hussey didn't know, and then someone in the forum was, like, nitpicking, and so he incorporated it into the comic. DD, sneak into Stitch's boutique. In and get in. Drop it and get in. Don't bleed on the suits. Hey, that's the title of this intermission. Stitch says, huh? Next. You admit the thought of carrying an imprisoned tailor wherever you go is gratifying for personal reasons. But in this case, keeping him alive should be useful in dealing with English later. Okay, so Stitch is not dying for now. HB, prod idiots with red cheeks. This predictably accomplished nothing. Excuse me. Taking your smut out of hiding turned out to be a very bad idea. Now copies from the future are appearing left and right, and these clowns have their paws all over it. Slick, where the hell are you? Oh, hey, Sess. SS, remove Crowbar's pin. Okay. Crowbar's pin. Next. Okay, so he disappears. Next. And reappears in a different timeline. Crowbar's alive again, and a whole bunch of other stuff is different. You forgot this gang almost seems halfway competent when he's running the show. The good news is you get to kill him again. SS, insert and quickly remove Snowman's pin. You have no idea how much you'd like to, but even you're not that crazy. Still, kind of tempting. Ooh, the next is a sound page. Next. Hopefully you can hear this sound. I think I set it up correctly. We'll get an 8-ball. Which, of course, the name Snowman refers to the fact that an 8 looks kind of like a snowman. And Snowman is not one of the green people. Hold still, Slick. Something in your eye. Evan points out that she looks familiar, which that she does. So, I don't know. Part of the things that I've been doing in this stream is like pointing out things that would not necessarily be obvious to the first-time reader. So, I guess I will point out that looks very much like, much as Spade Slick looks very much like the Archagent Jack Noir. Snowman looks very much like the Black Queen. So, okay, next. Everyone always ceases gunplay when Snowman's around. If you kill her, you destroy the universe. I guess this is a spoiler, but I don't think the reason for that is ever explained in Homestuck. It's one of the things that I feel like is a loose end. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's out there somewhere, and I just don't know. But anyhow, SS, remove knife from eye. It's not a knife. It's Snowman's cigarette holder. All you know is she's going to have a hell of a time getting it back. SS, give it to Sawbuck. You chuck the lance at Sawbuck. But, of course, it's only a flesh wound. Seems like that's the only sort of wound you can ever inflict on the corpulent lummox. Consequently, you and he both jump to a random point on the timeline. This looks to be in the recent past, when Stitch and Crowbar were setting up the crates for the imminent gunfight, which was very thoughtful of them. Your goons should be showing up any minute with the heavy firepower. For now, you've got the drop on everybody. Okay, so Sawbuck's power is that when he gets punctured, both he and his attacker jump to some other random point on the timeline. However, not only is this a random point on the timeline, it's a random point in a different timeline because he's currently in a different timeline because of using Dai's voodoo doll, which is a lot. This whole thing is a lot. Oh, Sess points out in the chat, the reason killing her destroys the universe is because potting the 8-ball ends the game. Okay. I'm trying to okay. I'll have to. I never really thought of that. I'll have to spend some more time thinking about that later, about whether that makes sense. I mean, because that makes sense as a metaphor. I'm not sure how much sense it makes in terms of the greater cosmology of Paradox Space, but I don't know. You've given me something to think about. Anyhow, SS, kill something out of rage and frustration. Stitch gets the business end of your saber rattle. He's dead, in this timeline at least. Whereas we know that in the timeline that we were previously in, he's imprisoned by Diamond Stroog. SS, bring knives to the gunfight. Where do you think you're going, fatty? You'll deal with him in a minute. You whip out your double-edged sword and Occam's razor. SS, Occam's razor, Crowbar's head. Make it happen. Crowbar deflects the King of Spades into Sawbuck's unmissable carriage. You jump far into the past. And then years in the past, which is to say the present for the time being, a scurrilous straggler eyes impromptu desert skirmish. He dismisses them as a bunch of ill-mannered rogues, warranting no further investigation, although he gives a small nod of approval to the plain and serviceable hat worn by one of the combatants, which strikes him as an absolutely smashing display of good fashion sense. Yeah, this is a great moment because, okay, so he's clearly there are references to what's been going on in Homestuck Acts 2 and 3 with the with WV and PM and AR, whereas I mean, this is just SS. It's Spade Slick at a different point in the past. But what that means, if anything, because we've also been told already that this is the wasteland of a dead society. So we already know enough to... There's quite a bit of parallel here between this that we're seeing, which previously we saw in an alternate timeline. Now we're just seeing in the distant past. And... yeah, so this has some kind of relationship to what we've been seeing in the apocalyptic future of Homestuck, but we just don't know what yet. Seth says, I don't think it's the reason within Homestuck cosmology, but I can't go further on that without spoilers. But I'm pretty sure it's why it's her that has that power and not Sawbuck or someone. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. SS, hit Crowbar in the head. You can't kill him yet. You need him alive to return to the original timeline. I don't know why that is. Is it because... I think it's because his crowbar negates the effects of other stuff or something. I don't remember. Or something to do with his pin. God, I don't know what's going on anymore, do I? You need him alive to return to the original timeline. You will be taking that crowbar, though. SS, stuff him in your deck of cards. You cram him into the war chest. Sawbuck you need to keep alive too for the moment. Not to return to the right timeline, but to the right time. Speaking of which, where's Tubby think he's waddling off to? SS, just go stab Sawbuck until the time shenanigans stop. You treat him to a bit of the old bait and switchblade. You appear in the future. You guess this is after the gunfight is over. The gunfight that never took place since you killed/kidnapped everyone who was supposed to be involved. Looks like only Boxcars is here. SS, carry Sawbuck like Titan Atlas would carry the world. You order Hearts to drop his tub on the double before this fat lard puts you in a wheelchair. If you take Sawbuck back to your own time and kill him there, then that should save you the trouble of hunting him down. Might as well take Stitch, too. Maybe. You're not really sure if that's how it works. You don't really care, though. Next. You dump them in the Wrath tub and then stick the tub in your own deck of cards, but you give Boxcars back his sordid literature, which he'd carelessly left in plain sight. No one will ever catch you leaving your smut around. And even if you did, that copy of Terrier Fancy magazine could belong to anybody. No one could prove nothing. SS, stick Crowbar's pin back in again. Okay, you go back to your original timeline. But now, stuffed in your chest, you've got a live Crowbar from another timeline, brought to the timeline where he's supposed to be dead. So you guess now he's alive in this timeline, which is, in part, defined by his death? Okay, whatever. You should probably just kill him again anyway. Also, Sawbuck from another timeline is in there too. So you guess now there are two Sawbucks? This is getting kind of dumb. Next. You open the chest, releasing them both. Crowbar doesn't look too pleased. Next. You deflect his gunfire into the awesome gravitational pull of Sawbuck's astonishing girth. Everybody into the past. Next. You dodge his next round, too. It seems Sawbuck from this timeline, i.e. the quote-unquote real Sawbuck, was in this room at this point in time. He and Crowbar exchange bullets. Off they go. They no doubt go on to spend the rest of their ammunition peppering each other throughout the timeline, destroying all these clocks in the process between now and the present. You guess that explains the mess when you got here. Thank God you figured that out. You'd have surely lost sleep over it. 20 out of 107 clocks redestroyed for the first time, eventually. You know what, never mind. Essayist one-liners. Oh, you think you got one. Time travel sure can be a double-edged sword. Wait, that was awful. Really, really bad. You're sure you can do better than that. Next. Let's see. Sorry to... No. Time's running. No, wait. Fuck. You ask yourself from the past for a little help. Time's something about time. Time being up. No, wait, how about some kind of clock pun? No? Damn it, will you just listen? You're almost onto something. Time is... Screw this, too many cooks in the kitchen. Oh, and just, what does this quivering mound of blubber think he's up to? SS, stab first, utter puns later. Just as you hear your past self asking what happened to your eye... Yeah, that's interesting. You jab Sawbuck with your butterfly effect knife. You remember a little while ago asking yourself about your eye and not giving yourself an answer just before disappearing. Maybe if you stopped and thought about it for a second, you could have warned yourself and avoided the whole mess, albeit in the process of creating a paradox. But your strict policy of stabbing first and answering questions later prevented it. You're sure your past self understands/understood. You are sure of this because you very clearly remember understanding/understooding. Next. You are now past Spade Slick again. You were just about to pull Crowbar's pin. You guess all that stuff with your future self and Sawbuck originally happened in this room while we were off watching someone else, like Diamond's Droog or something. That makes sense. PSS, remove Crowbar's pin. And then all this happens. A whole bunch of shit happens that we already saw, and then it links us back to that page, which is only about 25 pages ago. PSS, be future Spade Slick. Being your future self is a lot more constructive because you get to do stuff you haven't already done. Looks like you're in the future. It's a bloody mess in here. The clocks are more bullet-riddled than ever, and it seems Crowbar and both Sawbucks have been decapitated. But there's a third Sawbuck. You're almost certain this is something you will be, or were already, responsible for. Which, of course, means more time traveling. Looks like the tub and chest are gone, which means future you must have packed up and left already. Gotta take note of these sorts of things so you know where you are in the timeline. You notice something on the wall over there. Next. One of the clocks that wasn't destroyed before is now bloodied and full of holes. Not especially noteworthy, you just have a feeling you should register this fact. 108 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed. Another ink splotch. The intermission is the first time blood appears in Homestuck, Evan points out in the chat. SS, quickly remove Lance from Sawbuck. You pry the cigarette holder from his torso. Whoops, another time jump. This tub of goo keeps going for his gun. Widebody's got to settle his big ass down. You really should incapacitate him without inflicting another wound. SS, knock Sawbuck unconscious. Count some sheep, bitch. Wait, the clock on the wall? It hasn't been destroyed yet, but it's about to be. It's ticking down to the time it's stuck on in the future. Maybe if you time it just right, you can end this whole mess in one fell slice. Next. You've even got a nice cold one-liner to dish out when the time comes. You've been working pretty hard on it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hate to cut end. Wait, no, not yet. Wait for it. Hate to... No, wait. Hate to cut end... Damn it, not yet. Hate to cut and run. Shit. Hate to chop off all your heads with this sword. Real sorry about that. My bad. You slay them all with your rapier wit. Wow. Next. Okay. 9 out of 5 green torsos dead. 2 out of 9 green torsos deadened twice. 1 out of 5 green torsos dead for the first time, but it's an alternate universe torso, so you guess maybe it doesn't count? 7 out of 108 clocks gratuitously redestroyed. Okay, so we've got... Okay, Itchy's dead. Doze is still waiting to explode, I think, but yeah, dead. Same thing with Trace. Clover's still active. Finn is dead. Die is dead. Crowbar is dead and then crossed out and says deader. Blah blah huge bitch for Snowman. Sorta dead for Stitch, who is the Stitch from he brought back from the alternate universe is dead, but the Stitch from the universe that he's currently in, or not alternate universe, I guess alternate timeline. Dead times 2. That's Sawbuck. Okay. Matchsticks is dead. Doze and Bakers are alive, and then Quarters is still dead, and Cans is still alive. Okay, status update. Next. Tub and chest and move on. That is altogether enough of this nonsense. DD, call Spades. You check up on Slick's status. Slick says he killed Crowbar again, Sawbuck twice, and Stitch once. You ask him if it was an alternate timeline Stitch. He says he guesses so. You say that doesn't count. You got the real one right here. He mutters some foul language you can't quite make out, but you tell him never mind and hurry down to meet you at the vault. He says he took some damage from Snowman. You say you know. You're having some effigies made of yourselves with your backup hats. Deuce brought Slick's crumpled backup hat, which he wound up with somehow. Not sure what happened to Deuce's. Boxcars is obviously tied up at the moment, so you can't get your hands on his yet. Slick says he's got both their hats and he'll be down ASAP. You say all right. He says in the meantime, see what you can do about this eye. Right, so you can see it reflects the wound on his eye. But next, have DD have Stitch patch up SS's effigy. Get to work, Thread Monkey. SS have right eye patched up. Damn it, your sprite was flipped the wrong way. You get Diamonds on the radio and tell him to undo it and wait until you're turned around. He says it's the right eye, right? Were you facing left or right? He says it's only right when facing left. It's the left eye when facing right. He says, oh, so it's the left right. So it's the left right eye. You say, yeah, but hang on a minute. You'll turn around so it's right left. He says, okay, he'll wait. Next. That's better. Homestuck is so stupid sometimes. SS, arm yourself in case Cans shows up. If Cans shows up, none of these weapons you've got are going to do any good. You admire the lance for a moment. It's a pretty sweet weapon with outstanding craftsmanship. At least you got something out of the eye gouging. She'll have to pry this thing from your rigid severed arm if she wants it back. SS, ride around on horse hitcher pretending to joust. Yeah. Next. Oh, shit. Oh, he's been seen. Next. Next. You can't believe she saw you horsing around like that. You will never live this down. DD, shoot up Biscuit and Eggs' effigies. Next. Stitch keeps their effigies in a big warehouse several miles away because of the ridiculous duplication tendencies. You're sure as hell not going to drive all the way over there, so you just shoot at them in person. Next. This was such an unbelievably terrible idea. SS, charge. This is incredibly delirious biznasty. And we click on that, and it takes us back to this problem sleuth page. This is incredibly silly. Okay. Whereas delirious biznasty is, I guess, a reference to something that was on Dave's computer. Next. The present. Okay, we got an explosion. Okay, so now these two, who we had previously seen them dead in quote-unquote the future, are now dead. Okay, and Stitch is now actually dead too. Okay, SS, start whacking things with the crowbar. The first thing you whack is Eggs' egg timer. Thwank. Next. Ring. You do this because, of course, you know that Crowbar's crowbar will destroy any temporal artifact and completely negate its effect on the timeline. Next. Whoop. Okay. HB. Attempt to eat eggs. Next. Your attempt was an overwhelming success. Next. Biscuits is looking a tad snug in his muffin tray. Next. He thinks it's about time to poke a broom straw in this battle. His dough will live to rise another day. See you in the future, suckers. SS. Crowbar. Biscuits oven. Make it happen. You deal the oven a wicked flogging, but not much happens. The oven doesn't really have any magical time properties to be negated. It just travels into the future at a rate of 1 second per second, like everyone else. CD, put dynamite in oven. You set the bomb to go off in a few seconds, when both it and Biscuits are released from it in a few hours. CD, turn up heat on Biscuits' oven. You're pretty sure this oven doesn't actually work at all. You just wheel it off somewhere else in the mansion so it can explode in peace. So I guess that implies that if the bomb is set to... So the oven is legitimately time traveling, but it's only time traveling at a rate of 1 second per second. So... Because if you put because you put it in there and set it to explode in a few seconds, but it doesn't explode until the oven opens. I don't know. Next, the future. So we have that explosion. And you have both Eggs and Baker They I keep calling them Baker. Eggs and biscuits are both crossed out now. 12 out of 15. Green torso's dead. Probably some more clocks destroyed too. SS. Use crowbar. So who's still alive? We got Clover still alive, and Cans, and of course Snowman. SS. Use crowbar to pry the safe open. Since your expert safecracker apparently spent the last 5 or 6 hours being totally useless down here, you figure it's time to take things into your own hands. Huh? What's this little fella all worked up about? Next. Clover insists that you reconsider. Using that to pry open the vault would be ever so much bad luck, like breaking 1,000 mirrors all at once. The sort of mirrors that tick and have numbers and tell time and stuff. That is the worst kind of mirror to break, luck-wise. SS politely asks Clover to remain calm. He refuses outright and starts doing a really frisky jig. Doody 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 doo doo, doody doody doo doo doo. He begins spinning a fanciful series of riddles illuminating the true path to opening the vault. Mysterious music fills your ears as your mind assumes the shape of a pretzel. Doody doody doo doo, doody doody doo doo. This is how the music would sound if we were listening to it right now. I wonder if any of the songs on any of the Homestuck soundtracks purport to portray this music. I don't remember. DD. Ask Clover for the ultimate riddle. You ask Clover to open the safe. Next. What's this? Hee. You think you can shoot Clover? He is so lucky that the gun will probably jam, or something predictable like that. Nice try, though. Next. You just start whacking him with a newspaper instead. You don't have to be all that unlucky to get whacked around with a newspaper. It's sort of a gray area. DD. Check personal ads of periodical. The Gray Ladies. No clothes, no shame, no chroma. All the nudes that's fit to print. Late edition. I can't read that. Today, pretty something. You know Hugh will get excited. Because that awful tragedy of sea at night in Midasian. Wireless brings aid, but too late to save. All crews stuck by the ship. Yeah, I don't know. There's actual nudes in Homestuck. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for having this on YouTube, but no clothes, no shame, no chroma. It's her gray area exposed. This isn't a real newspaper. It's just a wrapper for your private sordid literature, which no one can ever see. Oh, it's slipping out a bit. Your appetite for monochrome beauties is nearly on public display. Got to keep a lid on that smut, especially with Clover around. Next. Ogle. Suddenly the whole vault room is shaking. You wonder what it could be. It sounds suspiciously like Cans is about to plow through the wall Kool-Aid Man style. You pray to God that it is not Cans about to plow through the wall Kool-Aid Man style. Next. All of a sudden, Cans plows through the wall Kool-Aid Man style. DD. Resist urge to shout, oh yeah. Oh no. Next. And he punches you into next week. You find yourself going about your business a week later. Looks like you're doing a little grocery shopping. You're a bit confused, having no memory of the previous week. You have no idea what is on your grocery list. Are you out of milk? What kind of produce do you need to stock up on? It is all a little overwhelming. And to make things worse, the selection has too many prices and values. Okay, so that's Sweet Brow and Hella Jeff go shopping. And there's Jeremy, of course, or Karomi, or however you want to pronounce that. Not all the cans are the same. What's the difference? Beans. The selection has too many prices and values. God damn. It's like, who needs this fucking bullshit? It's so infuriating. Shit, where's the manager? And there he goes. He has the manager's attention. And now the police are involved. Jesus Chris. OMFG. I can't believe what he made take place. And then he fades away. Oh. Okay. HB. Uses Eggs' body as a bait for Cans. Battle technique. Torso flail. You flail the torso Cansward in an attempt to placate him with the red meat. And then we link to a Problem Sleuth page where A-Stick uses half-dead body as a bait for that monster. Battle technique. Okay. Next. Whew. The wind of heaven is that which blows between a horse's ears. It doesn't work. Cans, clocks, boxcars entirely out of the current calendar year. You land in a totally different, outdated calendar. Next. The spirited horse. Looks like this one's themed with spirited horses. You'll be up to your ass in horses for a whole year. Just great. Just great. This is just what you need to be doing. Farming all these goddamn horses. Fucking pain in the ass. This is a real horse calendar. Only the real horse calendar does not have hearts, boxcars shopped into all the images. He's not in this one though. Weird. Or this one. Huh. Okay. SS, ignore him and just pry the safe open. You don't care what the consequences are. You're going to crack open this safe and be done with it. This whole intermission was starting to get a little punchy anyway. Next. And the house is gone. But the vault remains. Is this the first silly horse nonsense besides the pony, I guess? Sesquidoodle asks. Yeah, I think it probably is. I mean, there's, besides Maplehoof, I think this is the first thing of the strange infatuation with horses. Okay, so they're all dead except for Snowman, and they're all dead except for Slig. The massive release of temporal distortion from the vault transports you to a highly unfavorable timeline. Looks like the entire mansion was leveled, except for the vault and its enclosure. Everyone's dead except for you and you-know-who. But at least the safe's open. 1,000 out of 1,000 clocks destroyed. 14 out of 15 green torsos dead. 3 out of 4 black scofflaws offed. SS, enter the vault. There's nothing in here except an opening in the floor. There is a door with a keyhole, and you have a feeling you know how to open it. You only wonder why English's treasure would be locked behind a door with a spade on it. SS, dramatically use the spade key. You guess this is what the spade key was for. All this time, you dramatically wield the spade key in a matter-of-fact manner. SS, peek inside keyhole. What keyhole? It was clearly a barcode scanner all along. Like the kind they sweep groceries over at supermarkets. That reminds you, you should really do some shopping next week. You're not going to peek inside because the lasers could blind you in one eye. Oh, wait. SS, use rules card for blackjack. This was never a problem because there's clearly a barcode printed on your rules card for blackjack, as well as your arm. But there's nothing wrong with the little redundancy you guess. SS, get on with it. Huh? Oh. Next. Ooh. Next. Oh, are you looking for this? Well, come and get it, you contemptuous she-witch. Next. Snowman's black inches no doubt have been responsible for more than a few red cheeks. Next. And she tears his arm off. Next. Then disappears. So no card and no arm. How's he going to get in? SS, flip your sprite. Ahaha, turnways sprite flip. You got to flip it. Turnways. We've already read that one on another stream, so we don't have to read it again. But yeah, that's clever because like earlier on in the intermission, it establishes the rules for like sprite orientation and how if he flips his sprite, it changes which one of his eyes is injured, and so it pays that off here with like the notion that he can flip his sprite, and then he has the thingy on him, which by the way is something that WV also has. But anyhow, SS, scan the barcode. And what is this? What is this? That's a Homestuck thingy. Next. Oh, this is looking kind of familiar. Next. What's this? This guy again. Been a long time. Hey, kid. Yeah, you. Ho, ho, ho. We've not met this character before, but now we have, I guess. This is the first appearance of one of the trolls, actually, in the comic. But, yeah. Next. MS Paint Adventures. CG. Boggle vacantly at these shenanigans. It begins to dawn on you that everything you're about to do may prove to have been a colossal waste of time. End intermission. And that's it. That is the Intermission. WTF, the thing all the fan art is of, Evan says. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, the trolls. Yes, obviously. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we finally got to the trolls. Everyone says skip to the trolls. Well, no one actually says that you should skip to the trolls, but it's like, I don't know, it's a meme in Homestuck. So that is the intermission, and so that is also the end of this stream. It's kind of a shorter one for today. I hope you enjoyed, I don't know, reading through this, whether it was for the first time or whether you're just kind of watching along. I don't know how much longer I want to continue doing these Homestuck streams, just because, I don't know, I gotta stop at some point, because I don't think I'm going to do the whole comic, because that would take a very long time indeed. But in any event, I do think that I'm probably going to take a break next week, maybe for the next 2 weeks, and then maybe we'll come back and do Act 4, which will probably take 3 or even 4 streams to get through, but because it's kind of long, but it's also very good. But that's it for now. And yeah, once again, thank you very much for coming. If you want to keep up with like news about when the next stream is going to be, if there's going to be one, then if you're not already following me on Twitter, which you probably are if you're here, but if you somehow managed to find this stream without following me on Twitter, then I would say go do that. It's Now We Are All Tom, like the words Now We Are All Tom. And that's probably the best place to find out. Yeah, taking my own intermission, Sammy mentions. I feel like this is a relatively good point for it. Yeah, Act 4 is, I don't know, it's big and it's plot heavy, and I don't know, the very next page right after this is actually a huge page that will take like an hour to get through. But we don't have to worry about that right now. The Tom pause. Yes. Okay, so that's going to be it for now. I'll see y'all on Twitter. I hope you're all staying safe and staying home stuck, and also, I don't know, wearing masks when you go out. Please take care of yourself and other people. All right, I will see you all at a later time. Peace.